Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, let's look at how to design a logo using MidJourney. Unlike Stable Diffusion, MidJourney is a paid service. First, we will look at what are the different types of logos, and we will look at prompts on how to generate these logos using MidJourney. First, let's look at abstract logos. So rather than relying upon the realistic depiction, uh, there will be an abstract logo for the brand. Let's say for Apple, right? The logo is an actual apple. For Shell company, the logo is a shell, right? But in case of abstract logos, we have a uh, example of Pepsi, where the logo of Pepsi does not actually represent the drink or the products that Pepsi manufactures, right? Similarly, Nike swoosh, where Nike designs shoes and athletic wear, anything that is related to sports. But the actual Nike swoosh itself uh, doesn't represent anything sports related. So this is called as abstract logos. Let's look at some example. Uh, we can provide a prompt like abstract logo, flat icon, waterfall in forest, and we don't want any letters because Midjourney is not that good with any writing, right? So we specifically say no need to put any letters. We can later use Canva or any other free tool to add text to our logos. But yeah, it's going to generate images like this. Let's look at another one where flat vector abstract logo of a hexagon by we can also provide some famous logo designers. We will see more details in the next section, but yeah, similarly we can just say uh, something like this using hexagons. Again, we can keep experimenting with different geometrical structures. Similarly, flat geometric vector graphic logo of minimal concentric squares. We can provide uh, color and an artist. Next, let's look at logos inspired by legendary designers and creative professionals. So we have Paul Rand who has created the logos for IBM and ABC. We have Saul Bass who created Vertigo movie poster. We have Rob Jan who created Apple logo. Similarly, we have creative people like Yoji Shinkawa, designer of Metal Gear Solid series. We have Yoshitaka Amano, who created designs for Final Fantasy series. We also have artists like Pablo Picasso, Van Gogh. So we can use their styles to replicate a design for our brand. Let's look at some examples. We can say simple minimal logo of a duck, style of Saul Bass. This images generated will be similar to that designer's previous uh, logo designs. Similarly, we can say simple and also the color palette, right? It mostly matches on what colors that particular designer frequently uses and collaborates with. So simple minimal logo of a bull by in the style of Rolf Jan will be something like this. Similarly, uh, in in case of creative artists, right, we can say simple minimal logo of a bear in the style of Yoji Shinkawa. So this looks good, this looks good. Similarly, we can say something like cinema logo design of uh, style of Yoshitaba Amano, something like this. And then we have a simple minimalistic design of a monkey in the style of Pablo Picasso. This is more in the style of Pablo Picasso. So yeah, we can experiment with more designs with more artists. Next one is gradient logos, where typically there is a transition of colors, right, from one hue to other hue. We can use colors that contrast each other well, or we can use colors that invoke a particular feeling. So a transition from one color to other color might represent a change in the mood of, say, from sad to happy, something like that. So let's look at some of the examples. So minimal logo, gradient in triangles. This looks good. Similarly, we have something like geometric gradient logo, colorful geometric design gradients, modern graphics. This looks good. And similarly, something like flat vector logo of circle, gradient, dog wrapped around earth, simple, minimal, and we can use an artist name. So all we need to do is just to add gradient to our prompt, and that will try to invoke the transition of colors. Next, let's look at minimal logo designs. So a logo can be very complicated and very detailed, and sometimes it might be difficult for audience to understand the exact intent behind the logo. So in those scenarios, if you want to go with a minimalist design, we can try adding a minimalist word to our prompt. Let's look at some example. So I can just say minimal line logo of a lotus. So it's very minimalistic, and geometric minimal diamond logo line simple. So again, this is a very simple design. So again, it depends upon what kind of message you wanna display or tell with your brand. Next one is Japanese logo designs. So these kind of designs are more culturally involved, not just Japanese, right? Like if you want to invoke or represent a particular culture in your logos, you can take examples from that culture that more represents your logo. In our case, like for Yamaha, we have a three interlocking tunic forks, right? Similarly, if a logo is inspired by Zen Gardens, it will invoke serenity, something like that, peace, something like that. So again, if you want to invoke a particular feeling or particular aesthetic of a culture, then you can use that keyword in your prompt. So in this example, a logo of a shark, minimal style of a Japanese book cover. So it has a different aesthetic compared to the other logos that we generated before. Similarly, we have a logo of a Taiwanese tea brand, again, style of Japanese book cover, and it gets a different aesthetic. Similarly, a sushi restaurant, again, a different aesthetic. Next one is lettermark logos. So typically these logos contains letters, mostly initials. So let's say for HBO, which represents home box office, but these initials combined together, they create an iconic logo. Similarly, we have IBM, we have NASA, we have other brands like AMC. So where we can just use the letters from the brand name itself to represent a logo. So let's look at some example. With respect to MidJourney, we are unable to get complete text as of now, but we can try to create logos for a particular uh, letter. So for individual letters, we can for A, we can again use something like a letter mark, which will be the keyword, and we can generate multiple images. Whenever we are not happy with a particular set of images that are displayed here, we can remix and regenerate for the same, and we will get a different set of images for that. So let's see, we have for letter H here, and here we are regenerating letter D. At the same time, we can experiment with different artists, and we can also include previous logo keywords into one to have a unique style. And it again, it all depends upon what uh, you want from your logo. Next one is emblem logos. Emblem logos exude trustworthiness, time-honored tradition. So these emblem logos are mainly used as like a family crest, or university seal, or guild badges. Uh, so this will encapsulate the brand's legacy. Brands like Harvey Davidson wear their emblem logo as a badge of honor, signaling a storied history and unmatched craftsmanship. Similarly, Starbucks, with its siren emblem, conveys not just coffee experience but a maritime tale of allure and exploration. In order to invoke an emblem logo, the keyword is emblem. So let's look at some example. So here we are saying emblem for a university with a large book. So as long as we are using the keyword, it will look something like this. Say again, a farming rice emblem. Uh, so this looks really good, and this is good too. But yep, and similarly we can say vintage automotive emblem, and then we can also say a hawk emblem and a military emblem. Next one is mascot logos. So basically, mascot logos will give character and also relatable feeling to your brand. They become brand ambassadors. Let's think of Tony the Tiger for Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. It represents energy and enthusiasm with an iconic, they are great catchphrase. Similarly, Colonel Sanders of KFC, who personifies like the heritage and flavor, uh, catchphrase of finger licking good chickens. Let's look at some examples. Here is a logo for a chicken company. That's interesting. We have a robot with a paintbrush, and we can have a eagle and we can have a shark. This looks really good. So all we need to do is to add the uh, keyword mascot to your